How did you use media technologies in construction and research, planning and evaluation stages? Media technologies were vital for the post, pre and production itself. For post-production I used the computer to research into other types of media films and what type of film I wanted to create. I recorded my progress on a Tumblr blog. This was useful as it meant I didn't have lots of loose pieces of paper to record and work from. It also meant I could access my work anytime and anywhere. On my blog I mentioned a number of films I received particular inspiration from, such as Disney Pixar shorts, but in particular The Blue Umbrella. From this, myself and other people could see my progress to see how I got from an idea to a finished short film. On the production stage of my film, I primarily used a Panasonic HC-V10 camera, which was an upgrade from last year's flip camera. The camera allowed me to use a number of different camera angles and gave a decent standard of film. The great thing about this camera was the screen was able to rotate, so filming by myself most times, I was able to see what the camera was looking at from quite a distance. This made life a lot easier. It avoided disappointment when it came to editing. However, one issue that did occur with the camera was that it was not properly charged. This was a big problem as I couldn't go out filming when it was perfect in terms of conditions of weather. However, I soon learnt from my mistake and made sure that I had enough charge before I went out filming. Post-production was the stage I used media technologies the most. For editing my film, I was unsure of staying safe with the editing software I was using, Windows Movie Maker, or instead using something to create a professional look, like Adobe. After research into these editing softwares, they were all well out of my price range and I decided to use Windows Movie Maker. I knew the software from last year, so I didn't have to learn anything new. From last year, I also upgraded my computer, meaning that editing took half the time, thanks to the speed and smoothness of the computer. It also meant that I could store all my footage on the computer, which I was unable to do last year. This meant that there was a backup if worst came to worst, and I didn't have to keep the camera constantly plugged into the computer. For the ancillary task, the film poster to be precise, I used Photoshop. I managed to get a free 30-day trial, which was more than enough time to learn and create a movie poster. I did have a few difficulties at first, and a lot of first drafts were scrapped, but going on to YouTube and using YouTube tutorials of Photoshop, my knowledge of the program increased. Eventually I created a film poster that portrayed the fantasy genre and looked effective. With my ancillary task, the film review I wanted to use was Microsoft Publisher. However, I did not have a copy of the program, so I decided to use Microsoft Word instead. Thanks to the research I had done on film reviews articles, both in magazines and on the internet, I was able to make a review in no time. And finally, the evaluation stages, I'm using a camera to film my evaluation questions, and I also use voice memos on my phone for the audience feedback. So in conclusion, all these media technologies have been a vital process during my media project.